So many nice references throughout the scriptures about the importance of chanting the holy name. Even our Sri Guru Vastika Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitra Gita, that the spiritual master is ecstatically chanting the names of the Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's blessings, the 6 Goswamis are constantly chanting Krishna's glories. And I found a nice verse, Canto 6, Chapter 2, the last verse, a Jamil delivered by the Vishnu Dutas, very famous pastime. At the end of this pastime, there's a glorification here. It says, that anyone who hears this pastime, because it says, because this very confidential historical narration has the potency to vanquish all sinful reactions, one who hears or describes it with faith and devotion is no longer doomed to hellish life. So that we have to hear and to try to describe it with faith and devotion, no longer doomed to hellish life, regardless of his having a material body and regardless of how sinful he may have been. Indeed, the Yamadutas who carry out the orders of Yamaraj do not approach him even to see him. After giving up his body, he returns home, back to Godhead, where he is very respectfully received and worshipped. Just see the benedictions of Srimad Bhagavatam simply by hearing about Krishna and chanting about Krishna with faith and devotion. So this is text 49. Mriyamano Harir Nama Vrinan Putro Pacharitam Ajamilop Yagadhama Kim Uta Shradhayagrinan Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. So it's a long purport, so if you can pay attention, you'll not see the hellish life, that you'll be, with faith and devotion, will no longer be doomed to hellish life. While suffering, at the time of death, Ajamila chanted the holy name of the Lord, and although the chanting was directed toward his son, he nevertheless returned home back to Godhead. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chants the holy name of the Lord, where is the doubt that he will return to Godhead? Please repeat. While suffering, at the time of death, Ajamila chanted the holy name of the Lord. And although the chanting was directed toward his son, he nevertheless returned home back to Godhead. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chants the holy name of the Lord, where is the doubt that he will return to Godhead? Srila Prabhupada's purport. At the time of death, one is certainly bewildered because his bodily functions are in disorder. At that time, even one who throughout his life has practiced chanting the holy name of the Lord may not be able to chant the Hare Krishna mantra very distinctly. Nevertheless, such a person receives all the benefits of chanting the holy name. While the body is fit, therefore, why should we not chant the holy name of the Lord loudly and distinctly? How do we chant the holy name of the Lord? Loudly and distinctly. You understand distinctly? As Maharaj mentioned, upper lip, lower lip, and tongue, so you can hear the holy name. This is distinctly. If one does so, it is quite possible that even at the time of death, he will be properly able to chant the holy name of the Lord with love and faith. In conclusion, one who chants the holy name of the Lord constantly is guaranteed to return home, back to Godhead, without a doubt. This is a supplementary note to this chapter. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary to texts 9 and 10 of this chapter form a dialogue concerning how one can become free from all sinful reactions simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Someone may say, it may be accepted by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one becomes free from all reactions to sinful life. However, if one commits sinful acts in full consciousness, not only once, but many, many times, he is unable to free himself from the reactions of such sins, even after atoning for them for 12 years or more. How is it possible then that simply by once chanting the holy name of the Lord, one immediately becomes freed from the reactions of such sins? This is also a topic that Haridas Thakur was having with some Smarta Brahmanas who thought that simply by ritualistic Vedavata Rata, by performing some elaborate sacrifices of atonement, what you're saying, this chanting of the holy name, this is not true. But you can read, there's a deep description of the potency of the holy name. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur replies by quoting verse 9 and 10 of this chapter. Quote, the chanting of the holy name of Lord Vishnu is the best process of atonement for a thief of gold or other valuables, for a drunkard, for one who betrays a friend or relative, for one who kills a brahmana, or for one who indulges in sex with the wife of his guru or another superior. It is also the best method of atonement for one who murders women, the king or his father, for one who slaughters cows, and for all other sinful men. I think they covered the majority of the most sinful activities imaginable here. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord Vishnu, such sinful persons may attract the attention of the Supreme Lord, who therefore considers, quote, because this man has chanted my holy name, my duty is to give him protection. Just see how kind Krishna is. Even though we perform so many abominable, sinful activities, Krishna, simply by this token of chanting his holy name offenselessly, he feels obligated to give protection. One may atone for sinful life and vanquish all sinful reactions by chanting the holy name, although this is not called atonement. Ordinary atonement may temporarily protect the sinful person, but it does not completely cleanse his heart of the deep-rooted desire to commit sinful acts. I mean, that's the whole purpose of life. People go to church and pray to God because they want to achieve something, and everyone in this material world is acting on the desire of enjoyment, causing his simple reactions. But simple ritualistic activities will not cleanse the heart of the deep-rooted desire to commit sinful acts. Therefore, atonement is not as powerful as the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. In the Shastras, it is said that if a person only once chants the holy name and completely surrenders onto the lotus feet of the Lord immediately considers him his ward and is always inclined to give him protection. This is confirmed by Sridhar Swami. Thus, when Ajamil was in great danger of being carried off by the order carriers of Yamaraj, the Lord immediately sent his personal order carriers to protect him. And because Ajamil is freed from all sinful reactions, the Vishnu Dutas spoke on his behalf. There was that conversation between the Yamadutas who said, we have another sinful person to bring to Yamaraj. But because he called Narayan, the Vishnu Dutas came. And although Ajamil was stunned, he was watching the conversation between the Vishnu Dutas and the Yamadutas. They spoke on his behalf. Ajamil had named his son Narayan. And because he loved the boy very much, he would call him again and again. Although he was calling for his son, the name itself was powerful, because the name Narayana is not different from the Supreme Lord Narayan. When Ajamil named his son Narayan, all the reactions of his sinful life were neutralized. And as he continued calling his son, and thus chanting the holy name of Narayan thousands of times, he was actually unconsciously advancing in Krishna consciousness. The good fortune of being born in Bharat Bhumi, India, they name all their sons, Krishnadas, Vishnu, Narayan, and they get the benefit of calling them repeatedly and making advancement. So, one may argue, since he was constantly chanting the name of Narayan, how is it possible for him to be associating with a prostitute and thinking of wine? By his sinful actions, he was bringing suffering upon himself again and again, and therefore one may say that his ultimate chanting of Narayan was the cause of his being freed. However, his chanting would then have been Nam Aparad. Namo Balad Yasya He Papa Buddhi. One who continues to act sinfully and tries to neutralize his sins by chanting the holy name of the Lord is a Nam Aparadi, an offender to the holy name. So it's not just an easy tool, let me chant Hare Krishna and then I could do whatever I want. In response, it may be said that Ajamil's chanting was inoffensive because he did not chant the name of Narayana with the purpose of counteracting his sins. He did not know that he was addicted to sinful actions, nor did he know that his chanting of the name of Narayan was neutralizing them. Thus, he did not commit a Namaparad. In his repeated chanting of the holy name of Narayan, while calling his son, may be called pure chanting. Because of this pure chanting, Ajamil unconsciously accumulated the results of bhakti. Indeed, even his first utterance of the holy name was sufficient to nullify all the sinful reactions of his life. To cite a logical example, a fig tree does not immediately yield fruits, but in time the fruits are available. Similarly, Ajamil's devotional service grew little by little, and therefore, although he committed very sinful acts, The reactions do not affect him. In the Shastras, it is said that if one chants the holy name of the Lord even once, the reactions of past, present, or future sinful life do not affect him. To give another example, if one extracts the poison fangs of a serpent, he saves the serpent's future victims from poisonous effects, even if the serpent bites repeatedly. Similarly, if a devotee chants the holy name even once inoffensively, this protects him eternally. Wow. If a devotee chants the holy name even once inoffensively, this protects him eternally. He need only wait for the results of the chanting to mature in due course of time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistang Stapitang Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this pastime in the Srimad Bhagavatam of Ajamil, although he had good training in the beginning, Brahmana, performing all the duties of a Brahmana, born in a good family, and actually in the attempt to execute devotional service, somehow on the road he saw these two intoxicated couple performing sinful activities, and although he did not want it, but it awoke in his heart the seed of enjoyment. So much so that he gave up his nice family, good wife. He took the prostitute in. And then in order, like other materialists, had to work very hard, but his work was based on cheating others, and work hard all day and night just to satisfy his need to gratify his prostitute friend, but ultimately it was his own desires. But somehow or other, he named his son Narayan by Krishna's grace, and he achieved a perfection which we're all striving for. At the time of death, Ante Narayana Smriti, that we can remember the Supreme Lord at the time of death. We can see how most materialists who have no clue of Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Sankirtan movement, the potency of the holy name, and how fearful they are. This bhaya, this fear is very much prominent. We see for a while people get very, very fearful, but the modes cover up quickly and they think, oh, let us carry on in life. But then when one gets the disease, or when one finds himself on his deathbed and cruel death awaiting him, we've seen pictures that the dying person who was sinful through his life, he sees these very fierce Yamadutas. He sees the messengers of Yamaraj who come and rip the soul from the body repeatedly. So Krishna is very kind. He appeared 5,000 years ago and is described that he liberated everyone, but then again, there's a whole set, unlimited living entities lying dormant. They again populate this material world. Just like in a prison house, if you let all the prisoners go, there's still so many sinful people. Again, it fills up the prison house, because this is the nature of living in the material world based on sense gratification, avoiding the law of God. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking to Haridas Thakur, he was asking, how will all the movable and unmovable living entities, how will they all be freed? And Haridas Thakur said, oh, by your mercy. You know, you brought this holy name, and by the loud chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It says that the echo, that means all the inert living, the trees, the plants, and even the lower animals, everyone is given a chance for liberation. But somehow or other, again, it fills up this material world. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared and he taught Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Haridas Thakur appeared. He's Namacharya, Brahma Haridas Namacharya. He is the example of one who's 100% dedicated to chanting the holy name, to spreading this mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although he was chanting 300,000 times the name of the Lord in front of the Tulsi, this is a wonderful process of sitting down in front of Tulsi Devi and praying, and inoffensive, one who actually is praying to the Lord, please pick me up from this ocean of birth and death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Hare Krishna, Prabhus, don't talk, listen. This is Bhagavatam class, okay? It's not for entertainment back there, just to talk. Bhagavatam class, Srila Prabhupada would take very, very seriously, and all of us should take seriously. You come and you hear Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam. You know, I am not qualified, but we're trying to repeat the words of Bhagavatam, trying to repeat the words of our spiritual master, and trying to push on this mission. Srila Prabhupada came and established this Krishna consciousness movement simply to fulfill the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami. The Goswamis did not sit and write all these literatures, all these books just for fame or some sort of recreation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually feels anxiety. He feels pain that all the conditioned souls are suffering in this world. Who's not suffering? We may temporarily think in our imaginary way, think everything's okay. Everything is not okay, because we're repeatedly packed into the womb, forced to take repeated birth and death, misled by those who don't know the purpose and goal of religion or the goal of philosophy, all the so-called universities, educational institutions, and unfortunately our own egos let us think that we know what is best and what is right. But until we surrender to the spiritual master, tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanastatva darshana. This mood of surrender, Krishna didn't speak to Arjuna because he was just a great warrior. He said, you're my friend, and you're not envious, you're not jealous. People in this world are envious and jealous, and this is it stems to Krishna. We're jealous of Krishna's beauty, Krishna's opulence, Krishna's control. So we want some of that. We also want to be controllers, proprietors. But Srila Prabhupada, he often said that astrologically he was to become one of the most wealthy people in India. He was managing a very important or big chemical firm. But Krishna, he remarks that out of love, Krishna took everything away. Because Krishna loves us, he actually takes away that desire to think that we can enjoy in this material world. And who takes the message seriously, then he becomes empowered. Srila Prabhupada is totally empowered, Shakti Vaishya Avatar, to perform the heroic Herculean activities of crossing the ocean and undergoing so much inconvenience and distress. If the electricity goes out for 5 minutes and our AC shuts off, we start cursing to no end. We think, oh, this is impossible. I cannot live in such primitive conditions. These people get their act together and keep my AC running. It's not like that. The Goswamis had every kind of opulence, big association, but they gave all that up simply for Krishna Kirtana Gana, just to chant the holy name of Krishna, to deliver all the fallen conditioned souls. Not only are we chanting the Maha Mantra for our own cleansing, Cheto Darpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadevagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrikatavitarvitam. Lord Chaitanya, he spoke that this Maha Mantra cleanses the heart and gets rid of all those desires that have accumulated for many, many years, many lifetimes accumulated. But we've been given a gift, the gift of human life, been given the gift of mind and intelligence to apply our intelligence in the service of the Lord and to humbly accept the teaching of the Acharyas. Just like the Yamadutas became very angry, how did these Vishnu Dutas stop us? Nobody ever in the past has interfered with our business of taking sinful people to Yamaraj. They're actually a little angry at Yamaraj. Is there another controller? Is someone else really in charge? And you as our master, you're not protecting us, you insulted us, in front of these Vishnu Dutas. But Yamaraj explained that this teaching comes from Brahma, Narada, Kapila, the Kumaras, Shukadeva Goswami, Yamaraj, Mahajano Jainagata Sapanta, that all the great acharyas, all the great leaders, the great demigods, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Surya, Indra, all the great controllers, they're subordinate. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karna Karno. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's delegating the administrative powers to so many demigods. So Yamaraj, yes, he's a powerful controller, and he is punishing those who are sinful. But he warns his Yamadutas, do not approach the devotees. It's described that Yamadutas won't even look at the Vaishnavas. They're afraid now. They're afraid. And what is the symptom? It's not just some stamping, oh, he's Vaishnava. Look, he looks like a Vaishnava, nice Vaishnava. Devotee, Vaishnava, is one who has taken the message of Krishna to heart and soul, that I am yours. Just like one who's representing a company, an employee. If he's a good salesman, he goes out, he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars. It belongs to the company. He feels happy that the company is, and that next day he goes out, doesn't make anything. Still he gets paid. He's just an employee. So we work hard for Krishna. You go out on Sankirtan, you go on book distribution or collecting funds. Krishna someday, you meet so many nice people, and other days it's a struggle and a challenge. But that surrender, that I am the servant of Krishna, that I will do whatever is required for the pleasure of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada said, I am doing. He was chanting, he was cooking, he was cleaning afterwards, he was lecturing, he'd lead the kirtan for hours on end. And so a servant wants to serve his master. So the Goswamis are our masters. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is our Lord and Master. But we want to Gopi Bharatu Padakamaroyo Das 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 Anu Das. And how we can have that mood of being servant. Trinadapi, Sunichena, Tarorapi, Seshana, Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. We want to chant the Lord's holy name constantly. then we need to become humble, tolerant. Srila Prabhupada was very humble, very tolerant, but also very, very powerful, extremely powerful. The Mayavadis, the rascals who would offend devotees or devotional service, he would be like fire. But we should not take things out of context. They sometimes had, like the ladies who would do Sankirtan, they were very powerful, some of our Matajis. They say in the temple, they're like lamb, very gentle and very humble. But on Sankirtan, like a lion, on the chase. So we need to understand that humility is important. Proper respect for others is very, very essential. Because unless we have this mood, titikshava, karunika, suhrida, saradehanam, that unless we're tolerant, merciful, kind to all living entities, it's very difficult to chant the holy name in a humble state of mind. Not thinking that, I am chanting the holy name, then I'm freed of sins, I'm better than others. Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, they offer prayers to the Lord with a straw in their teeth, thinking, I am unfit, don't come close to me. Even Sanatana Goswami, during the summertime, would not go the easy path. He would avoid the path where the pujaris who are serving Lord Jagannath would have to even see him. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, very humble, always praying to the Guru. So the holy name is extremely powerful. We cannot describe it in words, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also gives us an indication, Nam Nam Akari Bahudani Jasarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Itadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Memapi Durdaivam Idrisham Ehajani Nanuraga. That you have unlimited names, Krishna, Govinda, Narayan, Rama, so many wonderful names of Krishna, unlimited names actually. But I am so unfortunate, I don't have a taste for that. Chanting of the holy name. The mind is always racing here and there. I have something more important to do. When you try to chant the holy name, even if we're not pronouncing 100% correctly, sometimes as Westerners, our Sanskrit sounds funny, and sometimes our mantras don't quite appeal to those who are expert in Sanskrit and chanting. But Krishna, he's intelligent, he understands the mood, he understands the sincerity. Even though we know we're lowly, Prabhupada often even wrote in the Chaitanya Charitamrita or the Bhagavatam that the Smarta Brahmanas, those think that unless you're born in a Brahmana family or unless you do the Vedic rituals accordingly, then it's not acceptable. So Prabhupada was ready to open up Krishna Balaram Mandir with a loud chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He said this Sankirtan, the Yajna, the loud chanting of the holy name is sufficient for the proper installation and opening of the temple. But there are some who will not accept it as a genuine, bona fide process. So let us call and perform the yajnas and the mantras and the ritualistic ceremonies. But in this age of Kali, to perform the Vedic rituals and yajnas, which are meant for atonement or good fortune, we can't even gather the ingredients. Where is that pure ghee and all the grains and the unlimited wealth required to be burned up in the fire of sacrifice where the demigods will come and Vishnu? It said, the demigods used to come for the yajnas, but we don't have the bona fide priests. We're a small Kali Yuga people because we're Patita Pavana, we're very fallen. Lord Chaitanya felt great compassion and great mercy that I need to save these. These are all my living entities. Sometimes you think, well, why Krishna just doesn't free everybody? because he will not interfere with our independence. Krishna will not interfere with our independence. But when we see a Vaishnava, when we hear the chanting, if one is naturally inclined, we know some devotees, many devotees, they saw the Harinam Sankirtan and they were immediately attracted. We were in Coconut Grove, this is in Miami, we were chanting. And this one devotee, a black devotee, he came Varnashram. He was so excited by this chant, he immediately jumped in the van, and that's it. From the morning, the next morning, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He was very careful to pronounce every single mantra with enthusiasm. Not that we should chant like that necessarily, but I'm saying that right from the Sankirtan party, jumped in the van, we bring him back, and took shelter. So this is the potency of the holy name. But those who are envious or jealous may sometimes mock Hare Krishna, but they get benefit also, because the medicine, whether one knows the potency of the medicine, whether one's a baby, a child, or a older person who may understand medicinal powers, if a child takes medicine, it has its effect. If a child touches fire, it burns. If an elderly person touches fire, it burns. And also if he takes medicine, it has its effect. So the Maha Mantra, the holy name of Krishna, is a powerful medicine. And this medicine will clean the mind and clean the heart. And although we may not see how is it affecting me, it says that the results of the chanting will mature in due course of time. The chanting is mature. What it's talking about is we'll begin to realize that yes, there's nothing else, there's nothing for me in this life. Nadanang, najanang, nasundaring, kavitang bhajagadishika. I don't want wealth. Who doesn't want wealth? I don't want followers. Everyone likes to be respected with so many followers. I don't want women. Everybody wants women. This attraction in the material world is what's keeping us bound, keeping us in ignorance, because we've forgotten Krishna. And Krishna very mercifully, Golokera Premadan Harinam Sankirtan. From the spiritual world, Krishna is sending the holy name. And he's non-different. Krishna is incarnating himself as the holy name of the Lord. In this Kali Yuga especially, the conditioned souls are so fallen that Vedic study and ritualistic ceremonies, atonement, yagyas, charity, all these things are not going to free us from the entanglement of repeated birth and death. Although we do perform, sometimes devotees give, this is month of Purushottam, we give gifts. I received gifts sometimes, and we give gifts, you know, that we hear instructions, we speak instructions. We perform various ceremonies, yagyas, but the underlying and overriding magic is the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I read one interview, Ayendra Prabhu, they're asking, oh, you have so much unique tunes, and the meter is so significant. He said, these things are external. He said, the sincere chanting and hearing of the holy name is the essential ingredient. So this should be our essential ingredient to somehow try to chant the holy name of the Lord, hear the name, and broadcast the name. This is the devotee Vasudev Datta and Haridas Thakur, Prahlad Maharaj, so many great devotees. Their interest, their pain, they could feel the pain of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that the conditioned souls are suffering, and they wanted to alleviate that pain. And actually Lord Chaitanya is ordering everyone, Bharata Bhumite Hoila Manushya Janma Jar Janma Sartaka Kori Kara Parupakara Jare Dako Tare Kaho Krishna Upadesh Amara Gai Guru Hoy Tare Desh. You spread the teaching of Gita, Bhagavatam, the holy name, everywhere. And this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not only did he appear and empower Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, the Goswamis, but he showed by his example, how to execute the religious principles. What did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? He chanted, he danced, constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord. So we should adopt that practice. Not only should we chant our 16 rounds, but all day be hearing about Krishna, chanting Krishna, because without hearing the words, hearing the words from Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is also Mahamantra, this is like the Mahamantra. But attentively, offenselessly. It's not that a Jamil just chanted Narayan, Narayan just to, if I chant Narayan, the Yamadutas won't come and get me. He had no idea. He was just feeling great anxiety. He was calling out of love his name of Narayan, thinking of his son. But the potency of that holy name completely saved him from a horrible death. And the holy name can also save all of us from a horrible death, but we need to practice. They sometimes give this, like if you go on stage, maybe a musical dance performance or even a singing performance, without practice, one can't imagine that, I just want to come on stage and perform. No, you need to practice. You need to understand how to do it nicely. So we're in our practice stage. By constantly endeavoring with enthusiasm to chant the holy name, and then it will actually start, just like when the sun in the early morning just barely comes out, then the ignorance, the darkness goes away, then you can see clearly. But otherwise, if we're not getting even a glimmer of the holy name, we'll always be in the darkness, led around by our uncontrolled mind and senses, and dragged down to repeated birth and death, basically. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Anyone have any questions, comments, corrections? I don't know where the microphone is. Here, go to the mic. We never have to worry about a question.
You were speaking about Goswamis, they left everything, they had everything and they left everything. They were totally dedicated and they were doing austerity. But we see the ISKCON Prabhupada doing the ISKCON, and he said, we are beggars but we are polished beggars. So can you explain something?
What was the last words?
We are polished beggars. We are beggars, we are begging for Krishna, but we are polished beggars.
Polish? Polished beggars? We are polished beggars? You got to do some more polishing, We're not quite polished enough. Yeah, we cannot compare ourselves to the 6 Goswamis. Of course, time, place, and circumstance also have a lot to do with how we understand. Just like Rupa Goswami had a boatload of gold and he distributed, was not interested in nadanang, najanang, nasundaring. And their begging was to give mercy, to give blessings to everybody. That's so-called begging. Our begging, if it's for the benefit of Guru, I know I spent many years on the streets and in the airports, and many times people criticize, hey, you beggar, go get a job, But we understand that Srila Prabhupada signed most insignificant beggar, because this is our profession, meaning that we've renounced the material world, we're actually engaging others. This is our special blessing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given, that we are all beggars here. When Mahamantra comes here, I beg him, you bring many donations for Krishna Balaram. And he does nicely. So, although I'm begging, he's satisfying. Okay? Many crores. So, we should maintain that mood of humility and have the mood of being beggars on behalf of the Supreme Lord. Just like Bali Maharaj, he had the whole universe, but he gave it all away. He became like a beggar, but the Lord was very pleased by his renunciation. So we'll be blessed by the Lord for our humble begging mentality. Everyone is fully satisfied? So let us offer respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, can fulfill the desires of everyone, full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki